Yeah.
So go ahead. I want you to talk about the poetry in Cuba. This is very important. We have a lot of important people, important writers, important all this kind of culture about the
Yeah,
poetry in Cuba.
intellectual people
Yeah,
in
exactly.
general.
You're one of them. So
Oh,
go ahead and tell us, what do you know about the poetry in Cuba? Who are the people that you will recommend reading for those who wants to know about the poetry in Cuba? And when it comes to poetry in Cuba, once again, what can you tell about that?
well, the poetry tradition here in Cuba, it's very, very old. I mean, if you think about Cuba, a lot of people say Che, but when I close my eyes and think about Cuba, Jose Marti, for example, is one of the examples that came to my mind immediately.
I don't know why people talk about. Sorry, I don't know why people talk about Che. First of all, Che is not Cuban.
Yeah.
I mean,
Was.
well, yes, but I still saying it is because we say we
It's
see
alive
Che.
in your heart.
No way, but he is like everywhere.
Yeah.
So people stay
90% of the souvenir stores sells like these
the hats,
the hats with the
t-shirts,
image of the Che and
everything,
the
yeah.
t-shirts, even the bills, the
Yeah.
three CUP bills with the image of El Che are selling in very high prices.
So I don't know. And he was. I mean, he wrote a lot of books. That's okay, but I don't think he's a portrait. And
No, at all.
so
I think Martí and all the people say that is one of the most universal Cubans around the world. So you can find poetry that he wrote, you can find articles, you can find speech, I don't know, species are the name. A lot of species around Latin America and Europe. And it's one of the main sources that you have to drink when you're trying to immerse in the Cuban culture. With Martí, I would recommend to this is not a most known poetry or something like that, but it's very good. Her name was Mercedes Matamoros, was a woman, and she was living in the time of Martí. So in that time, I'm talking about 18th century, she couldn't write with her name. It was completely forbidden. So she used like a nickname or something like that.
okay.
And Martí shared a lot of I don't know, mails. Is the name?
Letters.
Letters. Sorry, it's the
Yeah, I know.
yeah, a lot of letters with her because she was very, very good. And right now we can see a lot of works from her, and it was amazing. And the thing about her, it was the way that she wrote, a very intimate, with a lot of intimacy and some things that were completely forbidden in that age. The other name that I will recommend is Dulce María Loinaz. It's for, I don't know, 1950s, 60s, I think she was born.
Sorry, before talking about Jose María Loinaz,
Yeah.
for those who don't know who Jose Martí is, because
Yeah.
probably people don't know.
The national hero of Cuba.
Okay.
He was a writer, but he was he wrote, he went to the war,
He was and is one of the most important, iconic
image of Cuba.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the peoples that we really have to associate with Cuba, not El Che.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a man from Argentina that came to Cuba and fight, okay, brave, but it's not the image or the...
Nothing compared to Jose Martí.
No, at all, at all.
No.
What I was saying?
Jose María Loinaz.
Dulce.
Dulce.
Dulce María Loinaz.
I'm not a poetry guy.
Jose María Loinaz. Well, we have Jose María Heredia, so... But he was from 18th century, and he wrote a poem. It was like, I don't know in English, Desterrado.
Forget about it. I'm going to put it here.
A poem that is very famous and very, very, I don't know, sentido.
Feeling?
No, but
You
like the
mean
adjective.
Touched?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think. I was talking about Dulce.
Okay.
And Dulce María Loinaz and Carilda Oliver Labra. They are from years. They actually died very very soon, so, but they have a lot of poems that are completely good. And actually, a lot of people say that Carilda has like a romance with Fidel. I don't know.
That's mystery.
Yeah, it's a
Legends.
mystery, but it's like in Spanish it's like secreto a voces. I don't know in English how we can say that.
I would say rumors, but I don't
Yeah,
know
rumors.
how. Yeah.
A lot of rumors about it, but I don't know. I prefer to recognize her for the things that she wrote that are very very good. Let me think about Leonardo Padura. You know who is?
You talked to me. You've been talking to me about that since we met, actually. Because
Yeah, one of my favorite writers from Cuba, and he's still alive. Thanks God. He wrote this book called "A Man Who Loved the Dogs." I think. Sí, A Man Who Loved the Dogs in English. In Spanish, is El Hombre que amaba a los perros, and it's amazing because have two histories from a Mexican guy and a Spanish guy. I don't know. I will not say anything about it because I will be like saying spoilers at all. But Leonardo Padura is one of the writers that you really need to find if you want to know about Cuban culture and all these things. Let me check in my mind what other writer right now. It's very important to check.
you mentioned Jose Martí. Dulce
Oh,
María
Nicolás
Ordóñez.
Guillén. It's the national writer or the national poet. It's the perfect, I don't know, attribute to.
Way to say it.
Yeah. He has a lot of poems talking about this ajiaco that we talked in the beginning of the podcast, and the influence of an African grandpa and a Spanish grandpa. And I think it's very good for the people. He talks about the music. He talks about all these mixture, all these confluence of cultures, and I think it's very good for.
Do you know any like professional writer that we could have in the podcast? Of course, that person would need to speak in English. Do you know anyone?
I have to think about it because I know writers. You know that I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
writers.
Well, they need to speak.
But
Yes.
we need someone who speaks in English.
That would be a really nice interview
Yeah.
because
And being a writer in Cuba, it's such a complicated question
yeah.
thing. So
yeah.
it will be interesting for the people to know how it is.
I think it's not being a writer, but because you can be the writer, but the way that you need to express.
Exactly, and the things that you say in your texts and in your poems, it's complicated. The other one that I have to say, I didn't mention it. It's Alejo Carpentier. It's complicated because
The way to understand it.
yeah. For example, he has a book called in Spanish is El Reino de este Mundo.
Very famous one.
I don't know in English.
The
The kingdom of this world.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying right now. But in this book, he called the horse in 5 or 6 ways, different ways. So you are like, you're talking about the same thing? Yeah, it was a bit. And it was like a little issue about his nationality. Because France claimed him as their writer, but Alejo Carpentier was Cuban, so it was like all this problem about his image. I don't know, but it's very good, complicated but good. And José Lezama Lima. Oof.
That's another one that I have heard about.
José Lezama Lima has a book called Paradiso, creo que es. I think it's like that. It's like this. It's very, very big and complicated to read. But a lot of people recommend this book.
When you say complicated, it's because the way they
The
write.
language, the way he wrote it. But a lot of people recommend this book. And he talked about all these architecture things in Havana. He lived near to the old square.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he walked all these streets and talk about the crystals, the colorful crystals in the buildings, about everything, every details that we couldn't see because we are walking and we are like the horses just looking to the front, and it's very good. I'm thinking about like I was saying to you, Cuba has a lot of writers across the history, and maybe I'm telling the most important that came to my mind, but there are others. I will.
Don't worry,
I will.
take a break.
No, because I was trying to say something in English, but I was thinking in Spanish, and it was like a mixture of language. Like I was saying to you,